What's going on today, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of Walking Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at another custom knife from a maker that I have not done a review on their knives before. Actually, this is the first one of their knives that I've ever owned. This is a Tim Curry custom knife. I think his most popular model is the small cohort. I don't know if this is that model though. There are some subtle differences between the other small cohorts that I've seen in this one. So it's possible this is a different model. But I mean, it's so similar to the small cohort, it may as well be. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Blade length is 3 1/8 inches. It is a CTS XHP core with a stainless kind of boomerang Damascus exterior. There is Tim Curry's maker's mark. I really like the Damascus pattern on this blade. I just think it's gorgeous. It's probably one of the things that drew me most. Even this locking side is ridiculous. So pretty. I'm not normally a Damascus guy. I can take it or leave it, really. But when it's done right with the right color scheme, like it is on this knife, in my opinion, it just makes the knife pop. Yeah, I love that etching pattern. For the size of knife that this is, it's very thick blade stock. Obviously a sheep's foot slash Warncliffe blade shape. I'd say this is probably closer to sheep's foot. But I mean, it's very close to a straight edge. There's just that tiny little bit of belly there to keep it from being completely Warncliffe. Nice size top wedge there, and hollow ground, but it's such a slight hollow grind that it almost feels like a flat grind. So yeah, very thick blade stock, a fairly late primary bevel. This isn't the thinnest edge here, as you can see. I mean, yeah, not the greatest for fine duty tasks, which when you're talking about a 3 1/8 inch blade, that's usually what you're thinking, is something kind of light duty, just for everyday stuff. But this is fairly thick and robust. So, yeah, it doesn't really excel at the stuff that I tend to carry knives for, which is I mean, this is such a great, so smooth, and it didn't start out that way. I started out almost returning this knife to Fort Henry Custom Knives because I couldn't get the knife to open. The detent was just so ridiculously strong, and it had horrendous lock stick, just absolutely horrendous. Luckily, I kind of said to myself, here's the thing, and it's gonna, you know what, it is a ding against Fort Henry Custom Knives. I like the website, I like the people that run it. It's a guy and his wife. But their return policy is so crazily draconian. You get 24 hours. I almost feel like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot there. You're not giving a person enough time to really feel out the knife. Like, they have to make the decision immediately. Do I want to keep this or send it back right now? And for me, I was like, I can't risk it. This was like, I think I paid around $800 for this thing. I was like, I'm not going to risk $800 on a knife this fucking bad. You can still hear there's still a little bit of lock stick sometimes. It's on and off, but that's been breaking in nicely. Anyways, yeah, I was like, I can't possibly risk keeping this knife for $800 on the chance that it breaks in. But I was like, you know, I'll wait till the last minute. I even think I did send them an email, like, I'm thinking I've got to return this knife. I can't open it, and it's got really bad lock stick. But before I was getting ready to send it back, it started getting a little bit easier. It started breaking in a little bit. The lock stick started going away just a little bit. I was like, I guess I can roll the dice and hope that this breaks in fully. And it did. Now it's like freaking butter. So yeah, 3 1/8 inch on the blade, 4 1/8 inch on the handle. Pretty good blade to handle ratio. Overall length 7 1/4 inches. In my opinion, pretty perfect EDC size. So the handles here are obviously titanium, with a very thin overlay here, handle scale of, he calls it black pearl carbon fiber. I say it's shred carbon fiber. Tomato. It's pretty damn good looking either way. No voids, just really good shimmer in the light there, as you can see. And you know, nicely polished. The transition here, very good. You can just feel the very bit of slightest catch with your thumbnail when you're going over it. So really good job mating those two. And I think it needs that that carbon fiber. It just looks better, I think. You can, like here on the blade, you get the lighter color of the unetched portions of the blade, and then the darker portions where it's etched, and then you get this lighter portion, which is like the faux bolster, and the darker portion of the carbon fiber. It flows well, in my opinion. Yeah, I like the addition here of the carbon fiber overlay. Probably also helped reduce the weight. That's another kind of thing. The balance on this knife is pretty far forward. It's not in this finger choil area because of how thick and heavy that blade is. That's also probably one of the reasons it's that smooth, that the blade just kind of drops closed. But yeah. So yeah, lock side obviously plain. I guess that's like a nice, pretty heavy duty stone wash. 3D milled titanium pocket clip. Good job of designing it to not be too hard on the pocket. Slips in and out of the pocket pretty easy. I'd say in a little bit more so than out. It's sometimes on thicker pants it can catch that little part right there, can catch on your pocket, but other than that, very well designed. Open construction, just 2 standoffs there. And look how thin the titanium handle scales are compared to that blade. I think even if you combine the handle scales, they might still be just a little bit thinner than the blade stock. Super duper thick blade stock. As far as the pivot goes, it is on a caged bearing system. I did take this apart and put it back together, and it went back together beautifully. Blade stayed completely dead center. Just, yeah, really great action. There's almost like a faux pivot collar going on here, but that's just a washer that the pivot screw sits on. It looks, I think it looks really nice. It looks almost like he did a pivot collar, but like I said, it's just a washer. Let's show you lockup here. Lockup is very stout. You pretty much get full engagement from the lock bar, but since that blade stock is so thick, even a full engagement of the lock bar is still only like 50%, maybe even a little less. but the lockup is crazy solid. You could almost like wedge this thing into something and lean on the handle, and the blade's not going to move at all. So that is one of the upsides to that really crazily thick blade stock, is that it makes for a very sturdy knife. Overall aesthetic and ergonomically, I'm a big fan. I don't know what the hell happened to my accent there. Yeah, there's this little kind of finger choil area cut out so you can access the lock bar, but that makes for a very comfortable saber grip in the right hand. Just really really comfortable to hold. No jimping up top. I think it's probably best that he didn't go for jimping along the spine here, just because this knife feels more like, I shouldn't say art knife, because it's obviously pretty damn heavy duty, but I think it would break up that beautiful aesthetic and the lines that this knife has. This knife has really great lines. You can see that dead straight along the spine, all the way up to the portion of the blade where it drops down for the tip, and then the nice flowing lines coming back along the edge up here into this finger groove area. I really like the lines of that knife. Really kind of an oversized thumb stud, which he accommodates with this thumb stud cutout, and really too much pressure on the lock bar is a no-go. You want to kind of nestle your two fingers here on the pocket clip and put as little pressure on that lock bar as possible. And then as far as opening, this cannot be rolled out. This knife cannot be rolled. All you can do is just a tiny bit of pressure, it's firing out. Yeah, you can't do it softly enough or controlled enough to just roll the knife open. It's got to pop. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. It's a little heavy thanks to the blade. I shouldn't say it's heavy. For the size that it is, 7 1/4 inches overall. There are certainly lighter knives out there, but I think overall it's about 4 ounces, maybe a little bit under. But for action like that, I'll take it. Yeah, so as far as value, like I think I mentioned earlier, I paid about 800 bucks for this, completely handmade. One of the more beautiful knives that I think I've picked up recently, and different too. It doesn't look like a whole lot of knives out there, which I like. As far as materials, probably time, I think 800 is fair. I wouldn't go too much above that, just because you're getting into some serious competition at that level. But yeah, I think 800 is fair for this knife. You got your little lanyard hole. Gotta remember the savages that use lanyards. They always accommodate the savages. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, this was the Tim Curry unnamed, probably small cohort, but I'm not sure. So, alright guys, I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy.